Hey guys, what is up? It is BEC Plumbing. Today I'm going to show y'all how to change a toilet. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get a tape measure. And before you buy another toilet, you have to do this. And measure the distance from the cap, which is right here, the bolts to the drywall. And in this case, it's 12 inches. It's about 12 inches. That's what the most common rough end for a toilet is. So before you buy a new toilet, you have to measure that because they make a 10-inch rough end toilet and a 14-inch rough end toilet as well. And if you get the wrong rough end, the toilet may not fit. I've actually made this mistake before where I got the wrong rough end. I got a 12-inch rough end toilet for a 10-inch rough end flange, and the toilet would not fit, and I had to get another toilet. So in this case, I got my 1986 Kohler wellworth right here. I have this temporarily installed. I mean, I'm changing it out because we're moving soon, but I just wanted to install this temporarily. So we're going to be putting the toilet that was here before back in, which was a 2006 Kohler 4-trip toilet. So first thing you want to do to remove the toilet is turn the water off to the old toilet. Now you want to flush the toilet and you want to hold the handle down. You want to hold the handle down to get all the water out of the tank. So you want to hold the handle down and let it go. Now you want to take the tank lid off. And you want to take the tank lid off, just sit it somewhere safely. And you just want to, after this, I'll go get a rag. And so yeah. After you take the tank lid off, you want to just soak up any remaining water with a sponge or a towel. Get all this water out, basically. You want to get all the water out so that basically you want to get all the water out of the tank. Now you want to do the same thing with the bowl. Just get the water out of the bowl. You could also use a shop vac if you have one, but I don't have one, so I'm just using a rag. You want to get as much of this out as you can because you want to try and get just as much out as you can. You don't have to get every last drop out, but you want to get as much of it out as you can. I want to just keep doing this until you have pretty much all of it out, but yeah, just keep doing that until you got almost all of it out. Alright, so once the toilet's pretty much dry, as you can see here, and we got a little bit of water left, you want to take the supply line off. There's going to be a little bit of water left in the fill valve, so you want to have something left to wipe up any remaining water that spills out. Now, if you want to, you can unbolt and remove the toilet, but I'm going to take the tank off of the toilet, and so you just remove the tank bolts. Like that. They come off like that, like so. So yeah, Usually there's 2 of them, but in this case, the toilet actually has 3 of them. Now once you got the bolts off, just pull the tank right off the bowl. Now, what I like to do is I like to dump any leftover water in the sink. And so yeah. So now to remove the bowl, you want to pop off these caps. A lot of times you got to use a screwdriver. Now use a socket or adjustable wrench or a pair of pliers to get the nuts off. There's a lot of tools they make for this. I'm just using a crescent wrench, but you could use an adjustable wrench like this. You could use just a regular wrench if you know the nut size. Once the bolts are off, gently rock the toilet back and forth until the wax seal underneath is broken. And lift the toilet off the floor. Now what you want to do is scrape away any remaining wax with a putty knife. Scrape away any remaining wax with a putty knife. Oh, got a little. So just scrape the wax with a putty knife. And that's that. Once you have the wax cleaned up, if you're not installing your toilet right away, plug the drain with a rag. All right, now to install the new toilet, pull the plug you had out of the drain and get your wax ring and pull it out of the covering that it comes in, and place your wax ring either on the flange or the toilet. However, I personally prefer to place the wax ring on the flange. That's my personal preference. So that's what we're going to do. Now what you want to do is grab your new toilet. You want to line it up. Now a lot of times it can be very good to have somebody nearby to spot you, but you want to line it up and you want to gently press down on it like that to set the seal. And you want to make sure it's square with the wall. Be careful not to rock the toilet or tilt the toilet a ton, because if you do this, you can break the seal, which will probably result in the wax ring leaking. And so now you want to put the bolts on like this. And so you want to hand tighten the bolts for now. Now what you want to do is start tightening them with a wrench, and you want to alternate between each side. Be very careful not to over tighten the toilet, because this can crack the toilet. So just tighten it until the toilet feels stable. If the bolts are too long, then cut the excess off with a hacksaw, but in this case they're not, because I bought adjustable bolts, so we can just pop on the caps. To install the water tank, lift the tank up like this and guide the tank bolts into the corresponding holes. And now I'm going to get the bolts now. You want to put the tank bolts on. You want to put the nuts on and tighten them. Again, do not over tighten these, because if you over tighten them, you can crack the toilet. And in addition, tighten these bolts sequentially. Put the nuts on. Just tightening them. Again, don't tighten them too tight, because you can crack the toilet. Now what you want to do is reconnect the water supply to the toilet. And turn the water on. Let the bowl fill up. Check for any leaks around the supply lines and gaskets to make adjustments if you need to. If there are any leaks around the gaskets, then that can usually be fixed by tightening the toilet tank. Once the tank is full, flush the toilet. And look for any leaks around the base and around the point at which the tank and bowl meet. There doesn't appear to be any, and so you can also caulk around the base of the toilet. However, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do that. And then basically you just put the tank lid on and then you're done. I have a few tips I'm going to give about selecting a wax ring though. Alright, so one tip I have about getting a wax ring is when you get a wax ring, get a wax ring without the funnel. Because if you get a wax ring with the funnel, what will happen is it'll slow down water flow when you flush the toilet. And in addition, if there's any gaps in the seal, then every time you flush the toilet, it's going to hit that funnel and splash out and it's going to leak. So the funnel wax ring, I feel like, causes leaks and it slows down the flow of water. So I recommend typically getting a wax ring without the funnel. That's typically what I would do. And so yeah, that's another tip I have. And so yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching.